So today we will start off with module number 3. We will be talking about a concept called serialization. Serialization and deserialization. The reverse of serialization is called deserialization. Now, let us see what is the concept of serialization. As you very well know, in an object-oriented programming, we have a concept called class. And we create objects of a class. We have methods, we have attributes, and it is on this object that we work on our class. Now, what happens with the object is, once you terminate the program, the object is completely destroyed. So are its members and everything. You cannot have the object with you once the program is terminated. Now, what if you want to save that particular object or that particular state of the class? It is not possible in a normal program. You cannot save the state of a class, that instance of a class or that object. Now, imagine you want to call that same class again without recreating the object. That is also not possible in a normal program. Now, we have a concept called serialization where you can save the state of an object, or you write the state of an object. It is written as a byte stream. So saving the state of an object as a byte stream, you call it serialization. You save the state into a byte stream, you call it serialization. And when you want it back, when you are recreating the object from the byte stream, you call it deserialization. I'll go very simple once again. Saving the state of an object, you call it serialization. And getting it back, getting the object back from the byte stream, you will be calling it deserialization. Now, you might be wondering how it happens. It will be happening between two machines or two programs, or however you can imagine. Okay. The sending machine will serialize it and transport it, and the receiving machine will deserialize it at the destination end. Now, serialization, you can either do it with the serializable interface or the externalizable interface. So you write implements. Because it is an interface, you have the keyword implements, Java IO serializable, or you can write even implements Java IO externalizable. Please note, both externalizable and serializable, it starts with capital letter. They follow American English, so it is Z serialization. It is Z, not S. We will see all that with the help of a program. Now you might be wondering, why do you want serialization? Now, very basic, as I was telling you, you have serialization to save the state of an object. That is why you say Java is an object persistent language. Okay, you can have the state of an object saved forever. You call it persistence. And of course, you can transport this particular serialized file over a network, or you can save it in your database or whatever for a later usage. The biggest advantage is the byte stream which you create. The byte stream which you create via serialization, it is platform independent. That is again why they say a JVM is platform independent, because this byte stream created, it will be platform independent. You serialize on one platform, you can deserialize it on a completely different platform, And this is how it happens. You have a left side and a right side. Okay, left side, I'm talking about serialization. You're serializing. You have a class, you serialize the object on one node, you transport it through a network. On the other end at the destination, you deserialize it and get back the original state. Okay, so this is how it happens. You have an object, you convert it to a byte stream with the help of serialization. You can either keep it on your machine as a file or transport it through your network or keep it safe in your database. And then you have the process called deserialization, where the particular byte stream, you are converting it back to an object. In very simple terms, serialization means nothing. Object is converted to a byte stream. Okay, serialization means object is converted to a byte stream and then it is stored somewhere. Deserialization means you have a byte stream with you. You have a byte stream with you. You are converting your byte stream into the object. I've just shown a small example over here. Look here. You have a class. You have a class with color. And you are creating an object called blue car. You are creating an object called blue car. Imagine you run this program, you get the result, you terminate the program. This thing called blue car, this object called blue car, will it be saved anywhere, Abin? Imagine you finish off your program. The object called blue car, will it be saved anywhere in your normal program?
No, ma'am.
Your object
Temporary.
will not be saved anywhere. But when you do serialization, you can save your blue car. Okay, you can save your blue car when you do serialization. You call it a serialized object. The object state, the state of the blue car is saved. You call it a serialized object. And in deserialized, what you do is this saved serialized blue car, no, you can get it back to your this particular blue car object. The state of your object will be saved. Okay. Now, serializable, as I told you, it is a keyword. Serializable is a keyword. S is capital and Z. It's Z. It's not S. Okay. The serializable, you call it to be a marker interface. It is a marker interface, which means, you know, you will have no data, no method, but you will have additional capability than your normal interfaces. Clonable, which we have seen, no? Clonable is also something which comes under marker interfaces, and even remote. Remote we haven't seen. Clonable we have seen when we saw about object cloning. Okay, all these are called marker interfaces. Now, these are things which we need to learn. The classes used for serialization. You have two classes. You only use these two classes for serialization. It is object output stream. Okay, OS caps, SS caps. These are things where I go wrong always. Okay, in case I go wrong in my programming, you'll have to correct me. Caps. Okay, object output stream. It has a method called write object, and it is used for serialization. Okay, object input stream, it has a method called read object, and it is used for deserialization. These are the only two things which you need to keep in mind when you do serialization, deserialization. Okay, object output stream and your write object, you use it for serialization. Object input stream and read object, you will be using it for deserialization. Okay, we'll see it with the help of a program. Okay, so that we'll do a question. We are doing serialization on employee. Okay, we are doing serialization on employee. I'll just have my name as serialization demo. I'll save my program. Okay, I've created a new folder called serialization, SCR. Okay, SCR to save all my serialization programs. Serialization demo.java. Okay, so now I am going to write my program. They've told me to serialize an employee. So what I'll do is I will first create an employee class. Okay, now when I create my employee class, I will be creating it as a completely new file. There are two reasons. One is the same employee class, I will be reusing it in many places. In many places of my serialization and deserialization, I will be reusing my employee class. So I will be writing it as a separate file. And even one more reason, if I write it as a separate file, you can see everything in a single go rather than me scrolling it. You can see it in a single go. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll create a class called employee. Okay, because I've got to serialize my employee class. I'll write public class employee, public class employee. Now I am planning to serialize it. So I write implements serializable. Okay, I'll save. I'll just save so that things come better. I'll save it in the same folder. I recommend you do it together with me. Employee. Okay. Okay. Now I'm having a class called employee. I'll just have a few things in my employee. I'll have a name for my employee, public string name. Just have a few variables which randomly come into your mind. Public string. I'll have an address. Okay. I'll even have, let's say, int ID. Okay. ID, employee ID. Yeah. EMP ID. I'll even have, let's say, public int age. That will do. Okay, so I just have an employee which has name, address, employee ID, and age. I'll even have a constructor. I'll even have a constructor, public employee, public employee. I'll have all these inside. String name, string address, int employee ID, int age. Yeah, I have a constructor. I have a constructor with all these. I'll even write code inside my constructor. Okay, this dot name is equal. This dot name is equal to name. This dot address equal to address. The normal things inside a constructor. This dot employee ID is equal to emp ID. This dot age is equal to age. Okay, so that will do. That will do in my employee. I'll save my employee. Now let me come here. Okay, now I am planning to do serialization, which means I need an object. I created an object called E for employee, which I have over here. The same folder I have employee, which I'm planning to serialize. Okay, so I'll have an employee E. I'll create employee, new employee. I'll just create some random values and addresses. Let's say Rajagiri. Then I had employee ID. I'll just give some random numbers, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So I have now created an object for my employee, which will take in these values. I have a constructor over here, which will take care of all these things which would be assigned. Now, I am planning to do a serialization. Now, when you do serialization, you should always have it in a try-catch block. In a try-catch block. Why? Because you will be using your input-output streams. Whenever you use your input-output streams, you should have it inside your try-catch. I'll just finish off my exception business over here. Let's have IO exception. IO exception E system.out.println E. Okay, so that's it. Now, when you do serialization, your object created should be saved somewhere. The object created, the state of the object, it should be created somewhere. So what I'm planning to do is I will create my object in my E colon. Let's say E colon, I'll just put my dot. Okay, this is where I am planning to save my serialized object. Okay, so which means you are planning to create a file called emp.txt, and then you are planning to write the state. Let's continue. Okay, now you are planning to write it onto your emp.txt. So I will create a file output stream. Okay, I'm planning to write it onto this file. So just like any normal thing, you will write file output stream. I'll give an object file fout is equal to new file output stream. Okay, which means the thing which I'm creating, the serialized object which I am creating, I will be writing it over there, writing it in my emp.txt, which I have created. Now you need to create something called object output stream. Now I'll tell you what is an object output stream. Now you have a file.emp over there. The state of your object. What is the object over here, Abin? What is the object you have created?
E.
Okay, you have created an object called E. You have created an object called E. You are telling, open up an object output stream so that you can write the object into the particular file. Which is the file in which you're planning to write the state of the object? Which is the file in which you are planning to write the state of the object?
emp.txt.
Yeah, you are planning to write it in fout. Okay, so you will have to create a new object output stream. Object output stream, I'll just write OUT. Okay, you are creating an object output stream connected to your emp.txt via your connection fout. Okay, now you will be writing your object state in OUT. For that, I will have a method called write object. Okay, which object are you writing? As Abin was telling, you are writing an object called E. Where are you writing it? You are writing it on your object output stream called OUT. Okay, I'll explain it once again. You are creating an fout which has a connection to your EMP. Okay, you are creating a object output stream. Why are you creating it? This is where you do your serialization. This is where you do your serialization. Okay, serialization, it happens through object output stream. Why is it object output stream? Because you are going to write onto that emp.txt. You are going to write onto emp.txt. I have it as object output stream. I create OUT for fout. And now on my object output stream, I am writing my object. What do I have in my object? I have an Rajagiri 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. Now into my OUT, I am writing all the content of my object. Okay, so as of now, my things are over. All what I've got to do is I've got to close all my connections. I'll out close, fout close. I'll even have an SOP. I can have an SOP. Control C, Control V. I can say serialization happened. Okay. That's it. Okay, so that is it, my program. So all what I've done over here is I've created an object of employee. I have employee over here. I've created an object of employee. I'm planning to write it in emp.txt. Okay, so for writing the state of my object, I created something called object output stream. And all what I've done is my object, I've written it with a method called write object into my emp.txt. I'll save my program. I'll save my program. I'll even run my program so that you get an idea about what is happening. I'll open up my command prompt. Abin, can you see my command prompt?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Java C serialization demo.java. Okay. I've got a few errors. I'll correct that. So that's it, an error-free program. Okay. I'll show you all the additions which I did when I come back to my program. I'll run my program, Java serializable demo. Okay. They're giving me an output, serialization happened. Now let us see what happened. I'll take up my Explorer. I'll take up my Explorer. Abin, can you see my Explorer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, where did I tell? What was the location I gave? E serialization. Okay, can you see EMP?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you see an EMP? Now I'll open up my EMP. I'll open. This is the EMP which I created. This is the EMP which I created earlier. I'll do one thing. I'll just delete off all this. I'll delete off all this. Okay, I'll run my program once again so that you get no doubts. Okay, can you see my command prompt, Abin?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll take up my Explorer back. Okay, can you see my Explorer? I have an EMP. I had deleted it earlier. I ran my program again. I got an EMP. Can you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll open up my EMP. I'll open up my EMP. My EMP will be in Greek and Latin. Okay, this, some things you will be able to recognize, majority things you will not be able to recognize. This is the state of my object. This is actually my object which is created. It is in a byte stream converted to a readable string format. This,
ma'am, we can't see the notepad.
oh, okay, just a minute, oh, I didn't share that, just a minute. Okay, can you see my notepad?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This notepad is, as I was telling you earlier, it is something in Greek and Latin. Some things you will be able to read, and Rajagiri. I did have more things, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7. All that will not be here. This is the state of my object. My object is now saved. How is it saved? It is saved as a byte stream. Okay. Abin, can I take my program back?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'll take up my notepad. These were the corrections I did in my program. In my Chinnu, can you see my notepad?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I did not import java.io in my employee. I've written that. Then in my serialization demo, I did have employee E, right? I even wrote IO exception E, which an error was caught. I just changed it into a random I. And I even forgotten to write over here new, to create a new object output stream. Okay. So these were the errors. We've corrected it. I'll show you the execution once again. Before I execute it, I'll delete off the EMP in my, and I'll just create a random 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'll save my program. Chinnu, hope you're able to understand.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now I'm telling the same employee, create an instance of employee. It is created with the help of my serializable yes.
Command prompt.
No, I didn't go to my command prompt. I'm still in my notepad. Are you able to see my notepad?
No.
Okay. Okay. So all what I'm doing is I'm creating an employee called E. E is nothing but, my serializable class. Okay. I'm telling in a file called 123. In a file called 123.
Ma'am, notepad let's share.
What are you seeing now?
E drive.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Now, all what I'm telling is create an object called E. E is nothing but my serializable class. Okay, which means I can create a serialization out of E. And I'm telling in a file called 123, create a new object stream. For the Fout, make the object output stream enabled, which means I should be able to write byte streams onto EMP123 of my employee. The instance, write it onto my 123 and then finish up the business. I'll run my program. Hope you can see my command prompt. Java C, I'll compile it first. I'll run my program. They're telling me serialization happened. No, I don't believe that. I'll go back to my Explorer window. Where was it? I created it in E. It was a file called EMP123. I open up EMP123. It doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, my object is now stored in EMP123. I'll take back my program. it isn't necessary you always save it in a txt. Actually, the formal way is you save it in ser, a serializable file. Why I saved it in txt is so that I am able to open it and show to you. That is why I stored it in txt. You can even save it in ser, everything one and the same. Only thing is serializable, you will find it difficult to open it and see. One thing is, once you open up the serialized file, see that you do not make any change into that file. The moment you make a change, deserialization, you will have a problem. So, consider it as a file which you shouldn't be tampering on. Okay? Or the object created, for the serialized object created, deserialize it. Deserialize it. Okay, I've just done a copy paste. I'm going to deserialization. Deserialization on employee. I'll just change my program name, deserialization demo, Control C. I'll just save my program. Okay. Now, I do have an EMP123, isn't it, Chinu? I already have an EMP123.txt, a serialized object. Now, what I'm planning is, I need to get back my original data. What was my original data? My original data was and Rajagiri 123456. By deserializing from EMP123, you need back your original data. Okay, so we are going to do deserialization on employee. Let's say you already have EMP123.txt. Okay, you are planning to deserialize it, which means you are going to read from your EMP123. So it is not a file output stream, it is a file input stream. Okay, I am going to read from that file. Okay, so I'll just do a few changes over here. Okay, so I created a file input stream FN, so that I already have EMP123. I need not create it. I already have it over there. I am going to read from that particular file. Now, to read the objects, read the object or read the byte stream, I cannot use a file output stream. I'm planning to do a deserialization. To do a deserialization, you have to read in from there. You have to read in from there. So you will be using the object input stream. I'll just create an object called in is equal to new object input stream FN. Okay, so all what I've done is I already have an EMP123. I've opened it with my file input stream, and now I am reading the byte stream. I have a byte stream over there. I am reading it. Now, the red thing, it's bytes. Okay, it is bytes. I'm reading it. Okay, I use the read object method. Okay, I am reading it. I am reading it. It is a method. Okay, I am reading it, and for that, okay, let's have a dummy object. I'll have a dummy object. Let's say employee E. Okay, by default it is null. I don't have anything inside. Just creating. Okay, E is equal to null. Whatever I am reading, okay, whatever I am reading, I have got to read it into E, because E has a preset template. E already has a preset template with many things. Whatever I read it into my employee template. Now look here, whatever you read, it will be in byte streams. Okay, it will be in byte streams. You need to typecast it. Okay, you need to typecast it into what? You need to typecast it into your employee, because employee is a user-defined data type over here. I will be typecasting it into my employee, and then you can try doing your. I'll just give a few SOPs over here. Control V. I can say employee name is. Okay, let me just check what was my name. Okay, so here now you can access all your data members. You can access all your data members simply by e.name. You can even have e.address. Whatever you have, I'll just give over here, instead of employee name, I'll give e.name. Okay, all your data members of the class, you will be able to access it, because you have now converted it. You have now deserialized it. Okay, you have now, here the deserialization was complete. You read it, you typecasted it. Now it is in E. It is back in E. Back. That is what you call deserialization. It is back in employee object E. Yes, Chinnu?
Yes, ma'am.
Here you have read it, you have typecasted it. Now it is back in your employee object E. Now all these you can find out. Okay, you can use your normal SOPs over here. Control C, Control V, Control V, E.address. Okay, you can give E.address. What else did you have? E.employee ID. E.employee ID. And you need not have these. E.employee ID. You can access all of that. Okay. And then I'll just close all this. Okay, I'll close. What did I have? I had my input stream IN. I even had my fin. Okay, deserialization happened. Now you can even call methods you had in your employee. Let's say, okay, let's say in your employee, you had a method called, let's say, disp void, public void disp, because this is usually how you display, isn't it? Public void disp. Just copy all that. We didn't have this earlier because you were not displaying in your serialization. Employee name is, employee addresses, employee ID is. Okay, you can have all that. And here, let's say you even call, what was it? What was the object E, right? You can even have E dot this over here. Okay. Control C. Control V. Just have an SOP so that the displays come out well. Save my program, deserialization demo. Okay, now I'll explain all what I've done. I already have EMP123. I've created an input stream so that I can read things from that particular file. I created an object input stream. Object input stream, IN is equal to new object input stream, FIN. so that I can do deserialization. Okay, I can do deserialization. I have the object input stream. Okay, now what I've done is I've read the object input stream. I've typecasted it to employee and assigned it to my employee E. And then all what I've done is I have done a display. Now, one thing you need to be careful when you do deserialization is when you do deserialization, the exception which can happen, can have an extra exception also over there. Class not found, just in case, you know, EMP123 is not found or this employee E is not found. You can have a class not found exception. Class not found exception J system. This is an extra exception which can happen when you do deserialization. Class not found exception. Okay, I'll save my program. I'll execute my program. So I'll compile my program first. Java C deserialization demo.java. Run my program. Okay, so I'm getting all my things back. I am getting all my things back from my emp123.txt. Okay, I can even get things in the form of e.name, address emp, and you know, I even tried calling the function. Both will work. Any will work. You can go any way. You can either go for e.name or you can even go for the function, whichever be it. From the serialized byte stream, you will be able to get back your original object. I'll take my program back. Okay, look here, deserialization demo. Okay, so I do not have either in this program or in my employee, I do not have an 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. I don't have anything. All what I have that and details are stored in EMP123, which is serialized. Now what I've done is I've deserialized. Whatever I had, I have now deserialized it, and now I have outputted it.